Welcome back to State and Local. I'm Anne Marie Battistone, and you're watching Norfolk Public Access. My guest today is running for one of the two open spots on the school committee. That would be Jen Wynn. I'm very pleased to have her today.
I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Now, Jen, how long have you lived in town?
I've lived here since 2007. My husband and I rented one of the condos up on Town Hill for a year.
Did you?
We weren't sure where we wanted to live, and we fell in love with Norfolk. And we decided to buy a home here. So in 2008, we purchased a home, and we have been here ever since.
Did you enjoy living in that housing up there on the hill?
Yes, very much. And it wasn't.
They look nice, those big windows.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And it. When we moved here in 2007, there was nothing up there. There was no.
Right. Oh yeah.
It wasn't as big
of a
11
complex.
Years,
right.
Right, and it was very. There was no cut through to the Castle Road access, and it was quiet. There was a gentle breeze all the time. It was beautiful. So we just fell in love with this town.
Oh, that's good. Now, you have not run for any offices prior to this, have you?
No, I have not. I decided to run for school committee because I have two children, ages 5 and 7. One is in second grade, the other one is in preschool at HOD. And I'm also a speech language pathologist, and I have worked in the public school systems for 20 years. And I've also attended many school committee meetings, and I've always had a great interest in public education. And now that my children are in school, I'm very vested.
I think mostly what the school committee deals with is policy, isn't it? I mean, in other words, the superintendent is the one that has to do with, say, firing people or issues at the schools or...
Absolutely. Personnel issues are absolutely dealt with at the superintendent administrative level, we would say. But school committee is an oversight committee, not only about policy, but as well as developing the strategic plan, setting goals in place. What is the plan for the next, usually strategic plans are 3 years, and it's what are the goals of the system? What do you want for the students? What do you want for the teachers who are teaching your children? So it's a very important role.
Now, do you feel that other than your experience, having been a teacher, because you're probably classified as a teacher or a specialist, I guess?
I have a teaching certificate, but I would be considered special ed.
Oh. So do you feel like the direction that the schools have taken has been something that you were maybe not that happy with, or you'd like to see change? Is there what is the reason why you feel that, other than just your own interest, that you might want to make is there any change you might want to make with what's?
Well, I'm very happy with the Norfolk Public Schools. I mean, the teachers, Dr. Alardi, they have been amazing. I've worked with, aside from having my children in the school, I was also on the Norfolk Elementary School Trust. I've volunteered for that. NEST. So NEST is a fundraising grant committee where we do fundraisers. I'm no longer on it. But,
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's not, in other towns it's very popular. It's a grant committee. Franklin has one, Rentham has a West, which is really, really big. Franklin's is called Franklin.
Oh, ours just happens to be NEST. I was saying that's
for
a
Norfolk
cool name.
Elementary School Trust. And basically we do fundraisers, and then with that money every year you pass out grants for teachers who write them for supplemental.
I have never heard of anyone ever talk.
It didn't really get as big here.
Well, things, in my humble opinion, I mean, things are never really publicized very well here. With the exception of a few groups, I mean, if you're not in a certain group, at a certain time, at a certain place, you don't hear about things, which is kind of too bad.
I completely agree. And part of Dr. Alardi's strategic plan is to improve communication. And I agree. I mean, social media, we need to improve our communication and let people know, not only the parents, but the town members, what is going on in the schools, and whether that be through like a Twitter account or even ways for parents, Google Classroom. There's a lot of technology. So back to your question about why do I want to be involved, is because I believe that I have great experience to bring the strategic plan into place, because just because the school superintendent writes out a plan and it gets approved doesn't mean that it gets fully implemented.
Oh, right.
And I've read the plan and I strongly agree with it. It talks about social emotional learning, which is fantastic. It talks about communication. It talks about looking at new math and science curriculum, which, as you know, being a 21st century learner, to compete in a global economy, that you need to have strong math and science skills. We need to look at that. And it talks about professional development for teachers too, and especially with the special needs population. We're getting more and more students who have various needs, whether they be trauma. Trauma is a big thing right now in schools, kids that are coming in with it, and how to help those children within your classroom. So I know that I can help move that plan forward. Now,
did you happen to know, just as a parent, do they have a psychologist that comes over to the elementary school or the middle school? Do you know what kind of? Because I know you mentioned social and emotional learning. So I wondered.
Yes. We have a school. So there is a psychologist at each building, and we have a school adjustment counselor as well.
Now that's for attendance more, isn't it?
No. Social skills, social emotional learning.
Oh, because when I taught in Boston, they had they had those people, but they were really all about attendance because it was such a big problem.
No, they do a lot with friendship groups or children, anything that impacts the student emotionally, that impacts their ability to learn. Because if you're not ready to learn, you're just not available. So it could be a divorce issue. It could be anxiety. Anxiety is huge in our school now. It could be a trauma issue. So they deal, it could be a social skills issue. We have students on the autism spectrum now. So the adjustment counselors do a lot, and they supplement what the school psychologists do.
But I would imagine the adjustment counselor would have to, I mean, I never had children. I was a teacher for 34 years, but I wonder if they have to tread lightly in terms of not being intrusive with the family. I mean, unless it's clearly something that's illegal that's going on. You know,
right. I think that in my experience, children get brought to the adjustment counselor either through the parent calls the principal and says, hey, this is going on, or the teacher says, hey, you know what, so-and-so is just, he's got his head down on the desk. I think there's something going on. And, do you mind if I email the parents and see if he can, stop in and talk to you? So no one ever just goes in and pulls a student out.
Oh, okay.
They always ask permission. Absolutely. I know my daughter in kindergarten was invited to be part of a social group to help one of her little girls.
Tell me what that is.
So
that's something I've never, because when we were, I mean, I'm a lot older than you, but when I was coming up, I mean, you were just swinging in the wind. If you weren't in with this clique and that clique and the other, I mean, you just, there was none of that.
Yeah. No, Norfolk definitely is dedicated to social emotional learning, and so basically what that is when there's a student who's having difficulty, maybe initiating conversation or having a friend, the school adjustment counselor has identified that child, or maybe the child even came in from preschool as being a little anxious, or maybe
overly shy.
Right, overly shy, or having autism, and then that teacher will reach out to a few children. They'll go to the teacher and say, hey, who do you think would be a good match to, for this child? And then they will send a note home to the parents saying, could Jillian, could Mary, could John, could Joey come out during, snack time and, play a game with JoJo. Yes. And then this way, JoJo gets to be around students with modeled social skills. He gets to be more comfortable with other students in a quieter, less anxiety-ridden
Now, I wonder
situation.
if some of these students that, and I mean, let's be honest, I mean, kids can be very cruel. I mean, I wonder if that wouldn't single them out as sort of weak in the eyes of maybe other kids.
No. The kids want to go. They're like, ooh, we get to go play a game with so-and-so.
Oh, no, I know they would want the ones that are helping, but I mean, I wonder in terms of other groups, I wonder if there's been any, I mean, I would have to, you know, they'd have to deal with that right away, but I just wonder if it would make them look vulnerable and kind of like, well, the teacher has to help her find a friend kind of thing.
I don't think they think of it like that. I've never, I mean, I've been doing social groups myself for over 15 years.
With your own children involved, you mean?
No, through education. And my own child too. I mean, starting in kindergarten, she often will get invited to partake in that. And it's not the whole year. They usually rotate through. But, you know, kids
I didn't know such a thing existed.
They do a program in the school called Open Circle, and it's a social emotional learning. And you talk about people's differences and you celebrate them, and then you also talk about everybody learns differently. Maybe it's a social issue, maybe it's a math. You know, everybody, and there's all people coming in and out all day long in terms of you have math help, you might have someone coming in for extra reading help. So, and kids, it's very fluid.
Is that like a resource room?
No, they have a math specialist in all the schools that will help kids that are on the lower, that need extra help in math, and they have a reading specialist that will, you know, that will help kids. So,
but that's not social though.
No, but
what do you call it? The learning circle? You call it?
Open Circle. So the point is that kids get help for many reasons, and I truly, from what I've observed, believe that the kids get it, the other kids get it, and I you know.
Well, if you have to set up an atmosphere where it would be absolutely zero tolerance for somebody that was sort of getting that, if you want to call it a service, you know, because I know that they now is there like a bully czar? Do you know? Because I know in Boston they have. In fact, it was somebody that I had worked for that had been my headmaster for a while, and. You know, and then he became the bully. I thought he was kind of a bully himself, but he became the bully czar.
He took care of
and
those things.
I guess it was supposed to, you know, because Boston public schools are so big, you know, so I guess there were programs or there was some oversight of what they were doing in different schools and how it was working. So is there anybody that...
So Norfolk has a very strict anti-bullying policy, as most school districts, as all school districts in Massachusetts do. Teachers are specially trained in identifying bullying, and we have
workshops
a response
for them?
Absolutely, so many workshops, and each school has a way of how kids can go about reporting the bullying. So for example, at my middle school that I work at, there's an online reporting, and it gets investigated immediately. You know, the teacher investigates it and then passes it on to...
Is it anonymous? Do you know?
At my middle school, yes. But it does get invested. That's one way to report it. You can report it to a teacher, you can report it to a guidance counselor, or, you know, your school psychologist, and then it gets investigated by an administrator. So yes, so to your answer, is there a czar? No, but it does get, you know, paper gets filled out and does get formally investigated by an administrator. Usually it's principal, assistant principal.
You know, I've often wondered about, gee, we're talking about the school. No, that's okay. Should we be talking about you?
I just want people to know that why I'm running for school committee,
Very
and that
informed.
I feel that I am very well qualified, and
we're very well informed. I mean, obviously, you paid a lot of attention just through your own involvement.
Education
is
extremely important to me, as well as volunteer work. I'm currently a Girl Scout troop leader.
No kidding.
Yes.
Here in town?
Yes, have been for 3 or 4 years.
Now, what level are they at?
My daughter's in Brownies. I'm a Brownie, so I've gone through Daisies and now Brownie, and I hope she continues on, because it's such an amazing organization and what they do here.
But somebody else will take them when they get to be Girl Scouts.
No, I will.
You will stay with them?
Troop.
Oh, you do?
We travel with our troop.
I was a Brownie. Do they still wear those? Gosh, we had some kind of like a shirtwaist dress. A brown shirtwaist dress and a hat.
Yeah, no, there's somebody, we told the girls if they wanted to buy the beanie, they could,
Yeah.
but they wear this, our troop chose the sash.
Oh, okay.
So, but I really believe in public service, and I've been in Norfolk Community League giving fundraisers.
Oh, that's right.
I was co-fundraiser.
I know you through Deborah.
Yes.
Because we worked that thing that night.
Yes.
That's right. That's
so
how
Deb
we
and
met.
I know each other through NCL, and I love the community, and I just want to give back, and as well as I'm very invested in the trajectory of our school system, and I want to. Right now, we're doing okay. We're doing well enough, and I want to make sure that we become excellent.
Now, there is something, I was just thinking there's something. Now, what do you feel about this concern with these 40B projects bringing all these people in here? Because I understand over at the, I guess it's the Kennedy, they have built it so that you can add a wing.
Yes.
But, I mean, there comes a point where, I mean, you can add, it's much bigger than just merely adding space for the kids to sit in.
I agree.
And I think I don't know if a lot of people really understand. I think they say, well, 40B, well, these people need a place to live and but it's just, part of those projects are 40B. I mean, the one up on 144 Seacock, if it goes through, is huge. There's Abbeville. There's something like 5 or 6 of them right now in the pipeline. Yeah. And I mean, it has an enormous effect on the town. Water, the schools, the streets for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going.
Ideas about that?
We are going to have some challenges over the next few years in terms of space. From my understanding, HOD is at maximum capacity. It is also my understanding from watching various school committee meetings and hearing Dr. Alardi speak to it, is that HOD just cannot be added on anymore, and that's why they went to Freeman Kennedy, which was built. They had bought the plans through the state with I guess there's certain plans that you can get a school for with the intention that you could add on at some point if needed to be. So my understanding is that that's what they're looking on for right now for the preschool population. But you're right, with all the people coming in, and all of them are 2 and 3 bedrooms, they're not 55 and older, we're gonna have a population increase, and we're gonna have to probably be looking at what is the best spacing issue. I'm not personally for modular classrooms.
Now, what do you mean by that?
The trailers.
Open space?
Trailers. Trailers.
Oh, right.
When I came into Franklin in 2007, Franklin used to be a farming town, and they went through a huge growth spurt, and they had to build new schools, and they went through a real budget crisis, and they added modular classrooms or trailers, and it was.
I think a long time ago, because I've been here since '95, and I think they had something like that. They looked like little, they weren't freestanding, but they were like these little sort of units.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That were over at Kennedy. Yes. Well, it wasn't Kennedy, Boardman.
Yes, they did. I think when I was here, they had it before they
and they were kind of white and blue.
Yes.
And I don't know what classes were in there, but I do remember that.
We are going to have some spacing issues for sure.
Well, this is one of the only states that mandates, that has that whole 40B arrangement. Yes. And I mean, these builders get a tremendous advantage. A lot of regulations are bypassed, and then it's my understanding that if the town objects too much, then they go completely 40B, totally low income. And so I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are really. I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to shake out.
Well, we're going to have some tough questions to answer. And, I'm a property owner in town, and I'm acutely aware of our property taxes. And that's why I believe that with my experience of going through Franklin and their growing pains and seeing some of the cost-cutting measures that they did, I believe that I can bring forth, make sure that our budget is contained as well as produce the maximum benefit.
Well, of course,
for our value.
Of course, Franklin is so much bigger than us, but of course they have all the businesses, which quite honestly, again, in my opinion, I mean, they have fought business since I came here in '95. And so now, this is what I think the tax is the same whether it's a business or residential. But if the property is, I'm pretty sure it is. Okay. But our tax rate is higher than Medfield.
Yes.
But see, Medfield has all of that, quite a bit of business over there and tucked away in different corners. And then, of course, Rentham has, the advantage of that.
Rentham's going through, my understanding, a budget issue as well.
Huh.
Yeah. I think right now,
my goodness,
Norfolk has a $300,000 deficit that they have to make up between all the town departments, I believe. And from my understanding, Rentham and Plainville have like $1 million.
Get out. With all that outlet over there and all that
I don't know.
space that they've used for all that commercial space. My goodness.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about your children.
Okay. So I have a 7-year-old, soon to be 8, in 2nd grade. Her name is Jillian.
Oh.
She's incredibly sweet. She's a kindest girl. And she loves school, and she does Girl Scouts, which is why I'm a Girl Scout leader. And then I have Leah, who is called Spirited.
That's her nickname?
No, well, that's what they call it. No, it's not her nickname. They just
her personality.
Oh, like, does she have behavior problem? No, she's spirited. She likes to. So she has a mind of her own. She's in TK, which is transition to kindergarten, and she's great. She's also very loving and sweet, and we just take part in this town. We're part of the community. We're at the Duck Derby. We go to Kids Place. We go to the Santa Breakfast. We use Pond Street Fields. We love the community, and I just want the best for everybody here.
Now, tell me about that transition to kindergarten. Do you have to pay for that?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. 2 more months.
How much is that?
For full day, we're probably Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. We pay $725 a month.
A month?
That's okay. Daycare used to be $1,100 a month, so.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
So so, how old is she? She's in that. How old is she?
She's 5.
So she's not already in kindergarten.
No, she missed the cutoff date. Oh. She was September 6th.
I did too with my birthday.
It's probably better.
Good Lord! Now, do they feed them?
No, I pack a lunch. But no, everyone brings a lunch. No, you can't buy in preschool. Sorry.
So. It's that kind of money. I see. You see how I don't know about these. It's that kind of money with no food for 6 hours. So that's what is that, like 5,000 or 6,000 a year?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like I said, it's all relative.
Lord.
I mean, when we had 2 in daycare, it was $2,200 a month. So, and that wasn't even really full time.
So you're saying $1,100 is.
Well, we'll pay $700. Yes, every year. So 2 more months.
Wow.
Yes, it's very expensive to have children.
My goodness.
Yep. But well worth it. Well worth it. We love, 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 love preschool. I mean, she comes home every day and is so proud of her projects. Oh. And, it's so, what they're doing in preschool and kindergarten, they're learning all the foundational skills, as you know, that they need to learn because the standards now are high, very high. I mean, the kids are expected, even when I started teaching 20 years ago, they're much different. When they're expected to read by the time they get out of kindergarten. So one of the reasons why I was happy that Leah missed the cutoff is because she really had no interest, which was developmentally appropriate in letters and numbers, and that was. But if she had gone on, I mean, she didn't pick up her interest until mid-year of preschool. I mean, she would have been so far behind in kindergarten.
Now I'm just curious, where are you from?
Connecticut.
Okay. Now, and where did you go to school for your training for your?
UConn, University of Connecticut.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yep.
And so now you have your certificate in the
clinical competence in speech language pathology.
Oh, right. And have you always worked in Franklin?
In Massachusetts, yes. Prior to that, I worked in Connecticut in schools. I worked in the Newtown public school system, and I worked in Weston. So very high-performing districts. So I have seen the best of the best.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, I was just going to say.
Okay.
No, I mean, I taught in the city of Boston.
Oh,
so
a much different animal. I totally agree.
Of the worst. Some of those kids were awfully good, but it was just, they were much too lenient with them in my point of my. They let a lot go by the board that they shouldn't have. But, well, you're very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
And so we're about out of time, but
Sure.
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
so much
for having me.
Oh, no, I'm so glad. It's my
May
pleasure.
1st, vote, please.
Oh, right. Are you having any coffees or anything like that?
I don't know if I am yet. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, just one. I think you put it on the scroll here at the TV station.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
So, thank you very much for watching Norfolk Public Access. So we've just done state and local. My guest was Jen Wynn. She is running for one of the 2 seats on the Norfolk School Committee. Please vote on May 1st, and I'll have some more candidates on subsequently, so I hope you'll be watching. Thank you. I'm Anne Marie Battistone.